Welcome everyone, I hope you're having a very wonderful day, and welcome to my guide for Greylag Goose for Salzwiesen. Before we begin, I want to quickly break down how today's guide works. Our first section, we'll be talking about their hotspots and zones, and a little bit of a hunting method that I've concocted for them. And then our second section, we'll be talking about 5 of my favorite weapons to hunt these guys with, and then we'll end today's video with the animal profile, which will have a custom map, time zones, ammo chart, and more to make your hunt life 10 times easier. So, let's get right into it by me opening up our map really quick and just explaining where these guys like to reside. They reside only in 2 locations that I've been able to encounter. The far right side here is the hottest spot for finding these geese at. Not only that you'll find the Greylag Goose here, but you'll also find the Tundra Bean Goose, which I do want to point out that they do share the same time zones, so just keep that in mind when you're out there hunting them, so you don't mess up your grind. And the other location here is off in this little swampy area. Now I just want to point out at the end of today's video, I do have my animal profile marking down this entire little quadrant of swamp. I just don't know what their grand scale of it is. I've been out here quite a few times and I've only been able to see them land in these 4 zones. And I also want to point out that I have 2 zones of Greylag Goose above this road here, and then below I have 2 for the Tundra Bean Goose. So I don't know if their zones could be interchangeable. I've not been able, or I haven't removed the zones to test and see if they are interchangeable at all. So just keep that in mind when you're out there hunting them. But typically I would rather just stay over here on the right side of the map and hunt them in these open fields. Now for my hunting method that I've concocted here, it involves these 3 outposts, and you have all these fields right next to them. So I just recommend putting a tripod up there, putting the decoys out there, and then just teleporting between the outposts as you're hunting all these geese. And that pretty much does it for my method. It's just that simple. I mean, all these outposts are so close to these fields, you could just walk out to them, put up your fox collar, and just wait, plop a few flocks, and then teleport to the next one and keep it going. I mean, they come in pretty quickly and easily. I mean, I've killed quite a few hundred already on this map, but no diamonds so far, but eventually we'll find one. And that pretty much does it for the first section of today's video, guys. I'm going to see you guys over at the weapon locker in just a moment. Alrighty folks, so here we are back at the weapon locker. I just want to mention quickly just a few things before we get started. First off, I'm only going to be covering rifles and shotguns in today's video. And then secondly, there's just my personal recommendations and favorites. I always say go out there and explore and see what suits you and what you enjoy playing with. And then lastly, I'll be mentioning all the DLC these weapons come from in case you want to pick them up for yourself. And the final thing I want to mention is that this recording, or this section of today's video, will be used not only in the Greylag Goose guide, but also the Tundra Bean Goose guide. So if you've already seen the Greylag Goose guide, I recommend just skipping ahead to the end of today's video. So let's get right into it, folks, with our first rifle of the day. The Coolman 22 Hornet is one of my favorite bolt action small game rifles in this game as well. It's probably second to the 22 250, which I wish I could use on these geese, but I can't. So I use the 22 Hornet, and it's kind of overkill for these guys as it does overpen them, but it's very solid if you're looking for some long range goose hunting action. This thing will do it, and you can find it in the Mississippi Acres Pack DLC. Moving on to our second rifle and final rifle of the day, we have, I do not want to pass it, the Virant 22 LR Express, my bad. This is the highest capacity 22 in the game that you can get. You do have the Zarza 22, which only has 5 rounds, so that's why I prefer this bad boy a lot more than the Zarza. It's just a very phenomenal rifle. I recommend picking this bad boy up if you're going to use it on this map. The only reason, if you guys have seen my top 5 DLC, that I recommend it using the modern rifle pack over this pack is because you just get more bang for your buck with that 223 in it. But anyways, getting off track here, I just recommend picking up this Virant 22. It's very solid, and you can find it in Weapon Pack 1. Moving on to shotguns, which we'll be covering 3 in today's video. We're going to scroll down here to the Northern 20 gauge. This is one of the second best semi-auto shotguns in the game. You have 3 rounds in the tube. It's got very little recoil due to it being a 20 gauge shotgun. I highly recommend picking up, and its DLC is worth it in the Duck and Cover Pack DLC because you'll need those waterfowl blinds for this map in particular. Moving on to our second shotgun is the Strandberg 10 gauge. This is the highest powered semi-auto shotgun that you can get in this game. You have 4 rounds in there. It's very solid, and you can wipe flocks out with this bad boy, and you can find it in the high caliber weapon pack DLC. Moving on to our final shotgun of the day, it's the Strecker 20 gauge side by side. Yes, I know there's pump action shotguns out there, but when I think of duck and goose hunting, I think of a classic side by side double barrel shotgun, and every once in a while it is kind of just a guilty pleasure to bust this bad boy out and hunt some geese or ducks with it. It's very fun, and it's got a pretty decent DLC it comes from. It comes from the Wild Goose Chase pack, which I recommend picking up as soon as you can. And that pretty much covers today's like a little weapon recommendation. We're going to move on to the animal profile, so I will see you guys just in a moment. Alrighty, folks, so here we are at the end of today's video. Before I let you guys go, I'm going to do a quick animal profile breakdown. Starting on the left-hand side, we have all of our basic Greylag Goose information. We have our class, difficulty, silver, gold, diamond threshold range. We have our weight from least to greatest in kilograms and pounds. We have our fur types covering common and very rare. And I do want to point out that this thing has 5 variations of leucistic. Just keep that in mind when you're out there hunting. And moving on to the center of the map, I have all the hotspots marked in red and the other hotspots marked in yellow, which we've pretty much covered all these locations today in the beginning of today's video. Moving on to the right hand side, we have all of our time zones nice and organized there for you, and then below that we have our ammo chart for those full integrity kills. And that pretty much covers it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. It really helps out the channel. And with all the way, folks, I hope you guys have a very wonderful day. Happy hunting, good luck, and I will see you guys in the next one.